that is not them. Because it's a strong chance that they're going to reject that and say, no, that's not me. I'm part, let's say, part French and part German, right? And I'm darker skinned. Maybe my dad, or on my dad's side or my mom's side, somebody mixed with somebody. But again, I'm not from that region. It's a possibility, but you can't just lay claims on people that way. And that's what they're doing, right? Let me let y'all hear something. Brother Brian, are you still with me? Hopefully you are. Okay, Brother Brian, I want you to hear something. Something important happened last night, right? Real important happened last night. And I think it's important that you hear this, right? Yeah, I think this is it. And let me get it right to where it needs to be. Okay. Okay. All right. I want you to hear something. Hopefully I can get it to play. Okay. Right when these, okay, hold on. Okay, go back. All right.
And we're hoping to make some contributions, but it's fine. Let the discussion just go on.
Oh, I assume that are you in Africa?
I'm in Nigeria.
You're in Nigeria, okay. So I'm not sure what your position is. Are you Christian? Are you a Muslim?
I'm a Christian. My name is Ezekiel.
Oh, you're a Christian?
Yes.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. I'm so glad you came up here. Are you familiar with the Igbos?
With the
Igbos.
Can I have a spelling to that?
I believe we spell it I-B-G-O.
Okay, with the Igbos. Yeah, it's one the ethnic group in Nigeria.
Yes, and it is been said by Hebrew Israelites that they are Jews.
Yes, some of them.
Are they Jews by blood or Jews by practice?
Well, we can't say that they are Jews by blood, neither are they by practice. We can tend to say that it's what you believe that you are, because some of them, mostly, some of them are Christians. A few of them, let's say like 2 or 4%, are Muslims. But most of them, out of the ethnic groups in Nigeria, most they occupy the major Christian mass. But we can say to believe that most of them are Jews.
So would you say, are we talking about rabbinical Judaism or are we talking about Messianic?
Okay, sorry, can I answer that, Michelle?
Yeah.
I'm Igbo, so that's why I felt the need to answer that.
Okay, that's fine. I'm trying to check you out.
Yeah, I'm Igbo actually, and I think I spent about 30 years in Nigeria, so I grew up there. So I would say, first of all, to the first question, I don't think I have never. I'm pure Igbo. I have never seen an Igbo Muslim before. I have never ever seen an Igbo Muslim. Most of the time, when you come across an Igbo man who's a Muslim, I mean, we're talking about 40 million people, and I grew up there. So if you even ever come across an Igbo Muslim, guess what? He's just there for the money. He's not there because he wants to identify as a Muslim. I'll give you an example. At some point, my dad, the Igbos are known for business. At some point, my dad went to Saudi Arabia to go hustle and do some stuff. And, just to, blend in, sometimes he would follow them to the mosque, but he was never, ever, going to take it serious. And when he left Saudi Arabia, that was it. He never, ever, my dad is a Christian. He's so strong, but he won't do that now. That was his level of maturity then, though. So, but now he would never ever do that thing just because of business and hustling and all of that. So, I've never ever seen an Igbo Muslim. First of all, a lot of times they want to put a picture that there is like 3, 5, 10% of no. What you have is 95 to 97% Christians. We're talking about 40 million Igbos living in Nigeria, and then you have about 3% traditional practicing Igbos. Who still practice and worship, the worship of the deities. Yeah.
So what about the Jew? What about calling themselves actual Jewish? Would they identify themselves as being Jews?
Okay, so that aspect, yeah, there is some sort of history where they talk about, how some Israelites or Jew, how they got scattered over the surface of the earth, and they came through Turkey or something, and one of them came to the southeast region of Nigeria, which is where the Igbos stay and everything, and they call his name Ari or something, and then from there, blah 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 blah, and in fact, I think it was last year or so, some Israelites, they were trying to do a movie, they were trying to do like a movie on that story, and they literally had to come to Nigeria, came to the southeast region and started doing some documentaries about it, and but they got arrested, apparently because the current government is not really a fan of the Igbos because they never voted him in, irrespective. So yeah, there is some history to that, but however, it's still not most of it's yet to really hold solid water. If you get my point. Because at the end of the day, before the Igbos accepted Christianity, because a lot of Igbos are Christians, but even before they accepted Christianity, what was being practiced was not Jewish or Messianic canon or whatever. It was not nothing about that. There was no Jewish practice. Yeah, it was traditional practices. What was being practiced was traditional practices. Yes. Lots of Igbos had their own deities. Every Igbo man those days had their own deities. We're talking about, 50, 80 years ago. They had their own deities, and they were very dedicated to the deities. They made covenants with their deities. And I'm not talking of a deity, but deities. And there's this thing, every Igbo man has his own chi. The chi is like God. It means God. So every Igbo man has his own God, had his own God that he would worship and, stay true to it. And they were prosperous, obviously, because there was a covenant where they dedicated something to it. But it was idol worship, and all of that. So, but when Christianity came in, a lot of Igbos, it was massive. They were dropping it when the missionaries came in and all of that. And, so that was the main predominant practice even before they started accepting Christianity. So that's why I'm saying that it's yet to hold water. When you say, oh, it's a possibility, yes, some kind of way, Israelite came out, Jews, migrated and and spread out there. But then I think that we're yet to really see something very solid on that account. A lot of times people tend to push that perspective sometimes for their own selfish reason. You understand? Because the Igbos the Igbos have never really been not Igbos, but the Igbos have always been marginalized in Nigeria because they see them as a threat. If you understand what I mean, there's 3 major tribes in Nigeria. You have Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa. The Hausas have more Muslims than Christians. The Yorubas have, I would say, 50-50 Christians, Muslims. Then the Igbos are like 97% Christians. So you see that the Igbos generally tend to balance the population of Christianity in Nigeria. And that, yeah, it's a threat. So the thinking is always different. the thinking is always different. So, yeah, and a lot of times, well, I would say they've made wrong decisions. And there was the first civil war that happened was because the Igbos wanted to leave. They wanted to go their own way, have their own independent state, but they refused. It became a problem. And since then, the other tribes have never trusted the Igbos. So you see all those things. Sometimes some proponents from the Igbo tribe tend to want to push that narrative just because sometimes you can say they want to gain favor from Israel or the Western world, or just to push the narrative and still push for the independence, because you still have elements from the Igbo side trying to push for independence. You understand, and all of that. So basically, sometimes there is some element of politics within that narrative. But
So
however,
political move.
This idea
Hold on.
It's been there.
Yes, it's a political move. It has nothing to do with lineage whatsoever. It makes a whole lot of sense, but he's not done. This took place, ladies and gentlemen. If you're wondering what you're hearing a conversation that we had with two Igbo gentlemen who are, I think one is living in Igbo land in Nigeria now. The other, I didn't ask him where he's at. He might be over that way. I'm not sure. But again here, he tells some very crucial information, Brother Brian. Keep your ear close, because what he's about to, as he continues, it gets deeper. Brother JP was there, Sister Monette was there, Brother Eric was there, Pastor Sean was there, Brother Black Smurf was there, and myself and a few others were listening to these gentlemen, and they laid down some very thick history. Keep listening. Here we go.
Story, that history has been there. I remember growing up too, I heard the story, and all of that. But then I think that it's yet to be really, really verified. It could be true. It could be true, but it doesn't mean that at the end of the day, Igbos in those days practiced Jewish culture and Jewish worship and all of that. No. It was mainly traditional, and in fact, they held on to it seriously. And it took a lot when they accepted Christianity. It took a lot, because a lot of Christians, Igbo Christians, were still mixing Christianity and deity worship together. So they found they had to even drop the deity worship. And then, but I would say, in the past 10, 30 years, 40 years, you see, a lot of them have, a lot of them started to detach themselves totally from the deity worship and fully focus on Christianity. Yeah.
So I have a quick question for you, Don.
Yeah.
When you say that they practice Christianity, are you saying like in what ways? Like, is it like Sabbath keeping and law based, or is it more following the ways of Christ?
No. Christianity practice, no, like accepting Christ. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So it wasn't like fringes and the like I said, Sabbath keeping.
No, it wasn't. No.
So if I was like me being a Christian would come to Nigeria and I encountered an Igbo who was a Christian, the only, like, I would know that they're Christian not because of their keeping traditions of the Jews, but because they profess Christ. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's how you know that they are Christians. Even in the Yoruba side and even in the Hausa side, where you have Christians too. It's not about it's not about Sabbath day and all that. No. The only thing is this. I would explain further. When the missionaries came in, so there is a way the demographic is. When the missionaries came in, Christian missionaries, you had different would I say sects or denominations. You had the apostolic faith, you had the Catholics, you had Anglicans, you had Methodists, you had Baptists, right? Yes. So I would say the Catholics and the Anglicans and I think a bit of Methodists, they came in through the Southeast region. Lots of them came in through the Southeast region. So in the Southeast region, or the Igbo tribes, you have about 40 something million Igbos in Nigeria. Now you have about 30 million of them being Catholics. But they agreed that because the Catholic missionary came in and through their strength came in through the Southeast. So you have lots of Igbo Christians who are Catholics. that is only the dynamics. I grew up Catholic, and growing up Catholic, I had to study the word, research, and so my Christian faith shifted. My faith in Christ remained, but the whole doctrine that we learned growing up, I just cut them off and everything. However, the disciplines I learned.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you something.
Okay.
All right. He said that a lot of the Igbos are Catholic, right?
Correct.
Okay. Why are the Igbos Catholic?
Well, they came in contact with the missionaries and all of them, from what he said.
Yep. And the thing about it is, a lot of the Igbos there, even in the islands where they were dispersed, right?
Right.
I mean, I just read they were in all them islands. A lot of them became Christians.
Correct.
Most
They're
of the
97%.
nations down in there in them islands are Christian or Catholic. There's no Jew. I mean, they have some spots of Jews in them areas, but most of them are Christians. And they were. I mean, they may be practicing more idol worship now, but they used to be. Because
no, he said right now they are 97% in Igbo land Christian.
See, because that's where missionaries went to witness, and I know some Christians right now in Nigeria witnessing missionary work.
Correct. But he says some more crucial things here. You need to hear this, Brother Brian. Please listen.
Then so now you have so many Igbos who are Christians, but who are no longer Catholics. Some of them are Pentecostals, some of them are Anglicans, some of them are just practicing Christians, but non-denominational. Someone like me, I don't like to use the word Pentecostal Christian. I just call myself a Christian, a Christian apologist per se. So I would say, yeah, that's just what you have there. You have most of them predominantly Catholics in Nigeria. Most of the Igbos are Catholics. You have, after Catholics, you have the Anglicans. You have lots of them. Then in the southwest, that's the Yorubas, you have lots of them as Pentecostals. They came out predominantly as apostolics, and Baptist also, Methodist, but they were more of apostolic. And then, it spread out to Pentecostalism. So you have a lot of Pentecostals in the southwest region.
Yeah, Don, I was going to comment about that. Yes, I was going to say something about the most of the Igbos being Catholic, and to the talk that is, I think that is where the Judaism or whatever came in from. But to say something about some of the Igbos being Muslims, maybe you've never come across one. I served in most of the speakers might not know, but since you are Igbo, I served in Benue State and Enugu borders Benue State, and you can see some of the Igbos, especially in some places called Owerri, Nsukka.
Yeah, I know that.
So that's why I said that the Igbos hold water when we talk about Christianity. So they hold the major population in Christianity. Like I remember, I said something like some 4, 3, 5% of Muslims, and most of them. You were correct. In fact, I missed out saying that most of them are idol. They do idol practice. And I think you said something about when the missionaries came, most of them dropped and whatever. So that's correct. I just wanted to drop something about some of the Igbos being Muslims.
All right. Is it possible, Brother Don, you spoke about like stories that you said that you heard. Is it possible that you could share some, like maybe one of those stories that you possibly heard?
You mean stories about what? Sorry, just
I guess even Christianity or this so-called claim of being Israelites or something like that, because the Hebrew Israelites are trying to say I don't know if you heard, but on YouTube, they have been saying that, I don't know if you're familiar with a guy named Remy Ileona, who claims that he's well known in Igbo land, and that he appealed to a rabbinical court here in America, Florida to be exact. And I can share the article with you so you can see it, both of you, claiming that all the Igbos, all, A-L-L, I want you to hear what I'm saying, are actual bloodline Jews. The rabbinical court I ruled on the decision and accepted that factor. But when we look deep into it, it's really of conversion. So speaking to you all who are from that region or that area, you will be able to bring clarity to what's really going on, because the Hebrew Israelites are going around telling people on YouTube that you guys are Israelites, that you come from Israel. It's a whole lot of stuff. And, you know, they have lied so much on a whole lot of stuff. So it makes sense to go directly, you know, to the horse's mouth, go directly to the source, and you two are the source. One of our other brethren had an interview with two other Igbo brothers from that actually lived there where you're at. Oh God, I don't want to jack up your name. I got the Olan part.
Just Ezekiel is fine, Ezekiel.
Ezekiel, okay, Ezekiel, brother Ezekiel. He had an interview with two of them, and both of them said, "No, we're not Jews." You know, and they spoke about the deities that you spoke about, brother Don. I can't pronounce it well, but it means chief, I believe. And how that they, you know, ancestral, they look to the ancestors, and that every man had their own deity. So I was familiar when you said that, brother Don. And the Hebrew Israelites are literally trying to revamp, it looks like, the culture of the Igbos. So I figure, why not ask you all, because you all will be able to tell us what the culture really is there, how far back your traditions go. And not to mention, I would love to know, because I love African culture. I'm a Black African woman, and I love Africa. Thank you very much. So I figure, why not ask you? But they are telling people a whole lot of stuff, and it's not matching up from what I did read up on Igbo. It don't look like what they're saying. So what better way than to ask someone from actual Igbo land or around that region? You will know better. So that, you know, that's where my questions are coming from, if you can bring more clarity, if that's possible. But it looks like you have. Go ahead.
Brother Don, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I thought you weren't done speaking. Thanks, Dario Olariwaju. Yeah, so you see the way I pronounce it now, Michelle? I know it's fast. It's Olariwaju.
But you still did not get it right.
Anyway, but at least I tried now.
Yeah, that's 94.
Yeah, so the thing is this, you see, like I said before, there is no academic backing that really gives credence to that argument. It doesn't mean that it's not true. But like I said, I feel like all these things, it's just being overblown. The ideology of, this, it's just been overblown. And I said again, like, there are elements of political gainings from all those narratives. People push these things because they're things they want to gain, and the truth is this, like I said before, the fact that 97% of Igbos are Christians is a threat to some people. I'm going to tell you the truth. It's a threat to a lot of people. I know what I'm saying. It's even in the country. I think there was a politician who said, at some point, he said, well, he's a Christian. He said, thank God that a lot of the Igbos are Christians. I'm telling you. So a lot of times people come out and just want to push these narratives, but there is no academics backing to, like you said, it's only on YouTube you see all these things. You see now, yes, is it possible that there was someone who migrated? Because the whole story boils down to some Jewish person, blah, 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 who migrated and came and settled in a place called, I think it's, what's that again, in Anambra State. When he came and settled, there were people who were living there too. Now, if there weren't people, the Igbo, some Igbos living there already, I believe that his practice or culture would have, overshadowed what was being practiced there, or not. Because by the end of the day, like I said, growing up, it has always been about the deities. It has always been about the deities. The town where I'm coming from, they have a big deity called the Long Juju of Africa. You had so many white people coming in there because it was really mystical. You had so many white people, so many Europeans, explorers coming there. They came, took pictures, they saw the thing for real, they saw the deity and the magic and all the powers and everything, and saw it. No jokes. They call it maybe no Babi, they call it the Long Juju of Africa. So that's just one. You have so many Amadio. So all these gods and everything, they don't have any connection to Jewish practice. There is no similitude to those practices to Jewish.
That's a hammer right there.
The ancestrals, the ancestors, consulting the ancestors, all those practices, consulting the spirits, those were all just, those are like, I don't know what you call it, modern day, I don't know what you call it, modern day practices, but it's just idol worship, according as a Christian. So this is what they were doing. That has always been the predominant practice, So if, for example, if I'm pushing for the separation of the Igbos, for an independent country for the Igbos, because that's more than enough to get a country. Canada is about 38 million, and then you have about 45 million or 44 million Igbos, and that's besides the Igbos outside the country. Now you see that at the end of the day, it's a good enough reason for me to start pushing different narratives to maybe get support from Israel, get support from the US, blah blah blah, all that. You get my point. So again, I'm still saying there is no academic backing to really, or article or journal or whatever to really, give credence to that argument. I'm not saying that argument is not true, but it doesn't really hold water. It's just blowing. They're just blowing it out of proportion. There are people who migrate every day. There's people who migrate every day. Most of the blacks you see in Europe, in the UK, in the US, all came from Africa, right? Yeah, and especially in the Igbos, then my town, then they used to sell themselves to the white people. Actually, what happened was they used to sell themselves to the white people. So it's not like the white people even really came, and so in some places they came dominated and all of that, but some places they already set themselves up. Deception. They set themselves with their fellow black people up for sale. You get some towns, they really fought the white people, but they got dominated by the white people and then took them out. So it's like saying, at the end of the I think you can't even compare that, because you just don't have only one person who migrated wherever from whatever down to Ethiopia, and then down from Ethiopia down to Nigeria. You're talking about only one person compared to loads of people who came from Africa who were taken as slaves to America, to the UK, and all of that, and some then moved to the Caribbean. You can even strongly say, oh yeah, every black person has roots from Africa, right? Because it was not just one person. You had loads of people, loads of black people who were moved in ships. You can't compare to saying just one person migrated to a certain region, and then due to that, you say, oh, everyone in that area is, has ties to the Jewish. That's why I said that argument doesn't hold water. You get my point? So it's a lot of times people are pushing those things for political reasons or whatever, selfish gains, whatever grants, whatever it is. Even there's someone called Nnamdi Kanu now. He's pushing for an independent.
The sheriff.
Yes, sir.
He's also pushing that.
You know what's so that I find so good about this? What this guy's saying, man, it shows that Christianity is in Africa and in Nigeria. He said 95%. So
Yes.
why are these people choosing to be Christians?
Well, they had apparently they had already, a lot of them already believed when it got there, and of course, yeah, it was also introduced to them. But what he did confirm is that the this, I guess, Judaism, Hebraic
Mm-hmm. Yep.
practice, it wasn't there. And there's no recollection. He said, a migration, you might have had one person who came in, migrated there, but he was like, it's not enough, because you will see overwhelming practice, that being practiced, but it's not. Christianity is the dominant religion there.
Yep.
They do have others that do practice their own thing. But in Igbo land, as he said, 97%, Hausa is at 95% practicing Christianity. And I forgot the third tribe that he said is at 80 something or 90% practicing Christianity. So he was saying that this thing with regarding this claim, it's no, not, absolutely not.
Here's a big question, and something to think about. Okay, now it's all the Igbo you would say would be black people, right?
Yes.
So it's safe to say that Christianity is not just the white man's religion,
No.
because these Africans don't have a problem with Christianity.
No, not at all. And he also said some other things that that was mind blowing. That's why
this is good. This is really good
yeah,
interview.
it's real good. And I'm once we get to the real mind blowing part, I'm going to explain to you how this happened. And
I'm going to try to clip this if I can.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Go right
clip
ahead.
it up the way we get that interview, because that's a good one.
Absolutely. And it confirms also what was said on Garfield's channel. He confirms a lot of what the two gentlemen, because Garfield did a second interview with another gentleman from Igbo land. He lives here in America, but he's moving back to Africa. I think he said next year. So these two gentlemen confirm a lot of what was said on that interview with Garfield. So Hebrew Israelites, y'all need to stop that line. But here, let's continue, because he said some real, he said some real stuff. Brother Brian, don't throw your phone. Here we go.
They're from the Jews. They're from this, but he's practicing tradition, idol worship. He's into the deity worship. What? Yeah, but you see him with the Israel flag. You see him with the Israeli flag every time. You see what I'm saying? You will always see him with the Israeli flag and the whatever flag, but yet he will tell you, but he practices the deity worship. Yeah, when he wants to drink, there's what you do. You appease the spirits. Those days you do some things and you do some incantations to the spirits and pour some drinks on the floor. He still does that. But yet you see him with the Israeli flag. So what the heck is it? So what is the correlation between that? So you see that he's just pushing all the Israeli flag and doing all that just to chase clouds and push a narrative. You understand? So it's just gullible people who tend to fall for these things sometimes. You understand? Someone like me. One thing is, most Igbos a lot of Igbos are independent thinkers. Actually, that's one thing. So it's something that I know it will phase off. That all those things will phase off. The truth will always prevail. That's what I believe.
Amen. So wait a minute. So are you saying some of these people who are I guess claiming this Israelite thing, but they're still practicing the traditional Igbo deity? I don't want to say it wrong, because I don't want to insult you in any kind of way. So please don't take it as any kind of disrespect.
No, it's fine.
So some of these people who are identifying as, I guess, Israelite, walking around with an Israeli flag, but they're still practicing Igbo tradition of worshiping other deities. Do I have that correct?
Of course, yes. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. They just bring up the flag. Oh, blah blah blah. But yet they do the traditional practice. That's what I'm saying. One of the leaders of the people who is moving for the separation of an independent country, of Igbos and all of that. He's been arrested now. Too. You always see him with the Jewish. What they call it, the head scarf or something, that thing they put on the head.
Yes, what do you call that?
Yeah. You see him with that. Yeah, something. Exactly. Sometimes you see him with the Israeli flag or whatever, but all those things are just, he's just trying to push a narrative. He's just trying to push a narrative. He's trying to. Sometimes they want to.
Are you speaking about Remy Eliona, or are you speaking about somebody else?
No, I'm not talking about Remy Eliona. No, who's that? No, it's not that. I'm talking about someone who's arrested currently. He's in the.
Okay, somebody that's been work. Okay, I'm sorry, I had it mixed up, but wow. Okay, why would he do? Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Currently, he's been arrested. Yeah, and he's being tried now. Obviously, he's been tried because they see him as a rebel who's pushing for an independent state. The government is saying Nigeria has got to be one and will be one. And nobody's giving credence to that because it's Africa and nobody gives a damn. I mean, Western world. So, but then my point is, he's been arrested. He's arrested now and he's being tried. My point is, he practices traditional worship, worship of deities, and consulting the spirits and all those things.
Who's he talking about, Sister?
So let me pause. So it's a gentleman over there. I thought he was talking about Remy Eliona, but he's talking about another gentleman that's pretty much doing the same thing as Remy Eliona. He's pushing the Israelite narrative that they Israelites and all this other stuff, but he still practices Igbo tradition. He worships other deities. So it's a political move. It's not what these people, thought it was over here, or the narrative that was being fed over here. A lot of them, okay, we ride with this, and they're really still practicing the same way that they have been practicing. Only ones that are not part of it is the Christians. And this man has been arrested recently. I guess, he didn't go deep into, all that he was being arrested for, but yeah.
So how is he claiming to be Israel if he's not even practicing a religion?
Correct. That's the question. It's a political move. It's a political move. There's some of these people, because I guess they think they can go this route of making Igbo land, I guess, an independent state, if I'm correct, because I don't want to misspeak. So if they can get Israel to back them, that will bring in money, that will bring in clout, that will bring in protection, that will bring in quite a few resources. So it's a political move. It has nothing to do with bloodline or they were practicing this. He goes further. That's why I said, well, it gets worse, bro. It gets worse. Here we go.
You come up with these ready flags. So what's the correlation? If you were really Jewish and blah 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 and all of that, why not build up a damn what do you call the thing again? Why not build them what do you call the temple, their own temple, synagogue? Build a damn synagogue and all of that, and let people and do the normal worship, the traditional normal Jewish worship in the Old Testament, and where you offer bull, the goats and all these things for sacrifices every day, and the sin offering and all those. Why not do it then? I mean, you get my point. So, in fact, they don't even do 5% of what is being said in the Old Testament. So they just push those narratives to just, make people kind of like, I'm telling you, I grew up, I'm an Igbo man, I grew up there, although I grew up in the Southwest region, but I used to go to my town, then every Christmas. So I just feel like
propaganda, what they're doing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Did you say you used to go every Christmas?
Yeah, I used to go to my town every Christmas.
That's a good thing. Every Igbo man has got to go to their town on Christmas Day.
Yeah, that's true.
That you celebrate Christmas, okay?
I celebrate Christmas.
No, I'm just saying, Hebrews like say that they, the Igbos are, practice Judaism and things of that nature, and they only do the feast days in the Bible. And
right, they did say
those are lies. All those are lies.
Whatever the practice is, I would just like to add something. The Igbos, they have this belief that they have to go. Sometimes I feel like it's not really the day. It's not really the celebration. They feel like it's a time to marry, see their family, and do one or two things. And I would like to add something to what Don said.
Amen. Amen. Yes. I know exactly. That's what we do. A lot of Christians do here when we celebrate Christmas. We go to service. Fellowship with our families. Cook. Enjoy one another. By having fun, playing games. And basically making it about Christ overall. So you pretty much do the same thing we do over here. Somebody lied on that.
They lied on me. You wanted to say something, so.
I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. Go right ahead. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go right ahead. Did anybody else have any further questions for these dear brothers?
No, I'm just glad he confirmed something I was thinking about. I think it was a documentary many years ago that I heard that brothers over there were pressured to either convert or to proclaim Islam because it would help them in their careers. They would be paid more as professing Muslim. So that Don, another brother, y'all really helped just show up some things that I may have heard or that I've heard in the past. So appreciate your help with it.
I thank you guys so much. I mean, y'all cleared up a lot of what we didn't know, or because we were told wrong. We were told severely wrong. But we knew that there was something wrong in what was been said, because I looked at some Igbo culture on YouTube, and I'm like, this don't look like what they were pushing. And then when I heard the interview of the other two Igbo brothers, they said the exact same thing you just said right here. And in fact, you went further. Both of you all went further. Wow. Well, let me say this to you, Brother Don and Brother Ezekiel. Even though we're not the ones that did it, but I just want to extend an apology to you both. I am so sorry that people are lying the way that they are lying. I believe that, you guys are owed an apology because it's not right to go around lying on people and trying to twist people's culture into something else. So I dearly apologize to you both that this is happening over here. And I know it's a display of pure ignorance. And that's what they've been operating in, a whole lot of ignorance. Talking about the Hebrew Israelite cult. They are a cult. And somehow they just decided to take the Igbo people and thread it in their lie, and telling people this stuff. So I do apologize to you both, sincerely. Wow.
Yeah, thanks. But a lot of times it's just people who are ignorant. It's just people who don't want to think a lot of times or think outside the box, research. But a lot of times I think they will still go, figure out the truth. Like I said, the truth will still come out. That's just what I think. And I don't think at the end of the day they're going to succeed. I don't think they're going to, because right now that is the least of the problem for the Igbos. I mean, Ezekiel can testify to that. That is the least of the issues for the Igbos. The Igbos, are first of all focused on their business. They don't joke with their business. An Igbo man would not even care about what. Yeah, you can tell to testify to Ezekiel. Like, you don't joke with an Igbo man when it comes to business. When it comes to money.
Yeah. That's the truth. But I wanted to say something the other time, attesting to what Don said. I got to know that there are two American Jewish community in Israel. Don was talking about some political marginalization and aligning just to gain benefits or something, citing an example of a rebel leader, Namad Kanu, that wanted to gain something in regard to whatever. There is a Jewish American community called American Kulanu. You can make your research about it. And African American Jewish, some of the communities in Africa, some of the Igbos align themselves with them just to gain some political favor, some international favor, some financial favor. So it doesn't hold water when someone says the Igbos are migrated from whatever they align to, whatever. Even the Igbos that we are talking about, they formed out from somewhere. So if you say that they came from a lost part of Israel or they wandered around, so how is it that the question remains, how is it that they did not, the people that they came out from are not claiming what they seem to want to claim now? So that's just what I want to add.
Wow. 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 Monet, JP, say something.
Listen, I was saying wow, and I was on mute.
Yeah, they're just one big chessboard is what it is.
So y'all keep saying a political move. Why do they feel that they need to do this so-called political move? I mean, is it something going on there in Igbo land? Why do they feel the need that they have to do this? Or some of them, the people who are doing this, why are they taking this route? Why, for what? If I don't quite understand.
Okay.
National favor.
Exactly. Like what I think that's okay. That black smurf. Okay, what you just said is correct. To gain national favor, most of these picture came out from the Civil War. Like Don said, after the Civil War broke out, the Igbo factions, the Igbo sect, wanted to become independent. And they were trying to get the national concept, which they called the Biafra. So most of these Igbos aligning with the Jewish whatever came out after the Biafra war, after the Civil War. So they want to gain some favor, they want to stand independent, they feel like if they align, some of them can help them, the court, the finance, the whatever. So well, it's still an hypothesis anyway. Don't know the fact, but we don't know the truth, but this is what it seems to be like.
Well, America is known for helping people, helping other countries helping other people inside of countries become independent on their own versus having to rely on the government that they reject. We've went and done that in several countries already.
So
it worked out like we wanted to, but we did it. And that may be what they're trying to do there, is maybe get America to come help them in that sense.
So this is not about bloodline, traditional, or religious. This is straight up political.
It's absolutely straight line political.
Wow.
Obviously, it's politics. It's politics. Like I said, Michelle, I said again, the argument doesn't hold up, because if you look at it, I give you a simple litmus test analysis, or I don't know if I'm using the wrong analogy. I said the story is, and I'm comparing the story of that claim to the story of the blacks, the black people and their roots, the blacks living in Nigeria and living in the US, the UK, the Western world. I said the story is this simple. You have one person who migrated down to Ethiopia, from Ethiopia, and one person migrated to whatever place in Nigeria, in the southeast region, and then just one person. But you have tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people who migrated as slaves from Africa to the Western world. How does that compare?
It doesn't.
You see, so you can't come and claim that 40 million people. You can't just come and say 40 million people. Oh, so what? Oh, they multiplied over how many years? And then again, there were Igbos already there before he came. Even if the story is true that, this person who was true, there were Igbos living there already. There were people who were, and then again, I said, if he came and everything, and he was predominantly, dominant in that area, in that region of South, then that practice, there should be a bit of at least similarity, at least 40% similarity in terms of worship, in terms of practice, in terms of spiritual practice, even in terms of language. There is no similarity between the Igbo language and the Hebrew language. The language speaking is totally different. Totally. There is no similarity. It's like, let me give you an example. There is a place called the Delta Igbos. They call them Delta Igbos. They are in the middle area of between the southeast and southwest. When they speak, because what happened is you have some Igbos who migrated to that area and settled there. So they didn't go back, but it's in Nigeria still. They didn't go back. But there's a twist in their language. But when you hear them speak, I'm always like, that sounds like Igbo. That sounds like Igbo. You get my point? And you're like, And you can sometimes understand what they're saying. And they understand Igbo. I'm like, oh, wow. And then you get to now understand, the story was that, a lot of Igbos then, migrated there and then didn't go back. And then that community all of a sudden, became Igbo, sort of like, a community on their own. So, but the language sort of shifted, but it still sounds Igbo when you hear them speak. So again, the argument comes in terms of even language. The Hebrew language is, you can't compare. Like, it's totally different from. There is no similarity, even in blood, in words, pronunciation. At least there should be some similarities in terms of, the meaning of something. Like I said, there is nothing compared there. So again, I'll give an example. There's a place called River State. River State. Every time I go there and I go to old communities, when they speak, I'm like, sounds Igbo. I'm always like, sounds Igbo. Even the governor at some point is always like telling people, he's always coming out his face. He's a very